Momma Braga, força do coração. Momma Braga. Dance under the sun, feel the earth below. Momma Braga, Momma Braga.
For Momma Braga Unfiltered, and today we're joined by FingaStylz, the creator and unfiltered voice behind the podcast. For 9 straight years, he's dropped a new episode every single week, building a reputation for raw honesty, real conversations, and deep dives into wrestling, MMA, comedy, and nerd culture. His dedication has earned the podcast a spot at number 7 on this year's top 20 wrestling podcasts. Today, he brings that same energy to Momma Braga Unfiltered as our guest. Real talk, real stories, and a whole lot of FingaStylz. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you for having me here. This is going to be a little bit different being on the other end of the mic, so to speak.
Yes, you're on the hot seat. I'm not anymore.
Yeah, and tell you the truth, I haven't really done a lot of one-on-ones. The only one other I could remember would be our mutual friend, obviously, Ben Faith, when he started his podcast, and I was his first guest. So that was the first one-on-one. But I usually guest on people's podcasts where it's more of like just, having fun. It's not like getting to know me and all that stuff. So... And I really don't, if people listen to the podcast, I really do not open up a lot about myself. It's always focused around the guest. That's how I always like to have my show put out there. So this will be interesting. Let's see what I could come up with for you today.
Yes, let's get to know the man behind the mic. We did have the pleasure of interviewing you on our blog, but that was in our Inspiring Corner section. So it was more of a written interview. So we're going to expand a little bit on that interview and getting to know you a little bit better, because there's so much to everybody and we all have a story to share. So this is our opportunity to share more about Steve. So thank you.
Thank you. And again, just a disclaimer. I don't know if I'm sure we'll touch into it because we're both Portuguese too. And I don't know if it's just because of our Portuguese upbringing or if it's just because we were brought up in the era where you weren't known to be talking about yourself as much. You're not a show off. Like all these traits that now is inherent in today's culture was like total opposite of what we knew growing up. So let's see what you could pull out of me today. Because I really do not like to talk about myself. So feel privileged to have me on.
In our first conversation, you mentioned you grew up in a Portuguese household in Toronto, the most bustling city there is, I think. So looking back now, how do you think that mix of culture shaped to who you became as an adult?
As an adult, well, I guess the biggest thing, honestly, that I carry the most about my Portuguese culture is the food.
No.
It's like that is ingrained in me. Like we are so spoiled to have the riches of our culinary culture and all that fun stuff. Because again, if people don't know the history, go look it up. Portugal, went everywhere, grabbed spices from everyone, created all kinds of good dishes all around the world, and infused so much stuff. So I don't hate to say it. I'm proud to say it. I think we have like the best culinary dishes in the world. So growing up, I really did not enjoy it as much, if that makes sense. I always wanted like McDonald's and this. If my mom made cuisine or bifanes, I was like, no, I want a Big Mac. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't appreciate it as a kid. But growing up, I found that, I guess, moving away from my parents, that was the one thing I kept was my Portuguese culture. Because I don't speak Portuguese really to anyone. It was only my parents growing up. So it's not to say I lost my Portuguese, but even to this day, the only person I talk to in Portuguese is my dad. So I find that I'm losing a little bit of my Portuguese dialect, which sucks to say. And it's funny because my wife's Spanish, and I find that I speak better Spanish now than I do Portuguese.
Oh, so wow. But it's similar.
Well, it is similar, but that's because there's so many people that she talks to that Spanish versus where I only had the one person. Like, you know what I mean? Even though I grew up in a Portuguese neighborhood, we were like all either people who came over when they were very young, like 1 or 2 years old, or like myself, I was born in Toronto. So we never spoke Portuguese growing up amongst ourselves outside. It was only indoors, right? So
Mhm.
again, the one thing I kept, I guess, and the one thing that shaped me as an adult is the Portuguese food, because I can't go at least 2 or 3 days without eating something that's Portuguese, honestly.
Oh, I have to ask, what would be your go-to favorite?
Oh my God, there's so many. My God. Okay,
I
obviously, I
know, right?
love a good cozida portuguesa. That's one of my tops, especially in the winter. It's so good. It's amazing. What else I like? I like lulas as well. And any which
Okay.
way, I don't care. You can make it grilled, grilladas. You can make it stufad. I don't care. It's
Hmm.
all good in my opinion. A lot of people dislike it because of the texture. And I find if it's in a good stew or it has a good marinade, that's
Yeah,
why I love squid, because there's literally, if you think about it, it doesn't have a real taste to it. It's almost like rubber.
it's like almost like calamari, really.
Well, it is calamari. Squid is calamari.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
It's yeah. My daughter loves calamari. That's the
yeah.
like that's her request
Squid
everywhere.
is just calamari is just fried squid. That's all it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so those would be the top. And every soup, I could sit here and name every kind of soup that we make. That's the other thing that's so underrated in the Portuguese food, is just our soups
Oh, I know.
from
I really
top
like
to bottom.
yeah. Soups is a comfort food, I find.
So good because it's so hearty too. Like it could just be a meal on its own.
Oh yeah. In
And
our
speaking
first
of moms, because I did lose my mom at a young age, yeah, that's the one thing that I constantly have, I guess, as a memory of her, is because she really didn't teach me how to cook. I always just stayed in the background and looked and saw what she did.
Mhm.
And I'm sure we'll get into it too, even the way I was brought up and the way I taught myself was I'm more of I watch and then I could adapt. Like that's how I learn. If someone writes
Wow.
something down and says, here, do it, I won't figure it out. But if I see someone do it within like minutes, I'll be able to do it as well. So I was more of that type
A
of learner.
visual-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pure visual learner. Like same thing,
Yeah.
videos. You show me a YouTube video in seconds, that's it. I got it. No problem, right?
That's amazing.
So I would watch my mom and not thinking that I was like absorbing this information. And then once I moved out, I noticed I was cooking exactly like my mom without her even teaching me one thing,
See, that's amazing. That's
right?
fantastic.
And I don't know if it's just in the DNA too. Maybe it's passed down because so many things, like they say,
Yeah,
passed down through DNA, right?
yeah. It's amazing how that happens. Speaking of your mom, I know last time you shared how you became your mom's caretaker
Right.
at a very young age. Um, how old were you?
Oh, since my earliest memory, I could remember. Like it's a running joke, but I don't really think it's a joke. I think like at around age 6 or 7, I remember
Wow.
going to the bank with my parents and like translating because at least my mom, my dad spoke decent English, but he was just working
Hmm.
like 12, 13-hour days. Like, you know what I mean? He was supporting 3 boys and a sick wife on top of it. Like, you know what I mean? Like had his own business. So he had no benefits and stuff. So everything came out of
Yeah.
pocket, right? So back in the day. So luckily everything was a lot cheaper back then. So, and again, it goes to show one man working 12-hour shifts with one job was able to support 5 people. Like think about
Yeah.
that in today's, no one would be able to do that today. You know
No,
what I mean?
not today. No, no,
So,
not.
so he was too busy. So I would be the one going around with my mom. And I remember even going to bank, translating everything, knowing how to balance the bank book, like, and just the days where she would be so sick, I would be again, like bringing her like toast and stuff in bed and just applying her medications, taking care of stuff like that, and making sure she's up to date, and even helping with like the upkeep of the house and stuff like that. And for people
Yeah.
who don't know, it goes all the way back. So the whole I don't want to say long story short because it's not really a short story, but maybe long story long, depending on how much time we have here. So to put it up perspective, when I was born, 2 months later or so, my mom had cancer. She had discovered that she had it was a tumor about the size of like a peach core, a peach pit
Oh wow.
in the back of her neck, right on her spine.
Yeah.
So they found out 2 months after. And so I wasn't able to get breast milk or be taking care of my mom. After that, it was like they literally took her in, chemo right away, everything. She lost her hair, she gained a lot of weight. And it was again, this was 1979. So towards the end of 1979. So back then, think about the technology, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she got like the first few rounds of chemo that was ever available, injections, this, and that. And they ended up removing the tumor from her neck, which was actually the first operation ever in the world. They flew in like 3 or 4 different physicians from around the world. It was
Oh
like
wow.
8 or 12 6-hour operation just to get it out and make sure everything was okay. So they ended up taking out all her bones in her neck from like the top of her neck all the way down to like, I guess, her mid shoulder. And then inserted a tube. So then at least she has some support. So it's not like a bobblehead, so to speak, right? And she lost all feelings in her fingers and stuff like that. And obviously she never grew back her hair because, again, it was the early chemo and all that, and gained a lot of weight and stuff. So that's how I always knew my mom. I never knew her different. And going back, looking at her pictures, she was like I could easily say it, like a supermodel looking type of girl. Like she was like 5'8", 5'9", slim, like long, beautiful hair. Like, you know what I mean? Like she was gorgeous, right? So to see her, never to see her like that, it really didn't bother me until I got older, right?
Yeah.
So I guess it affected probably more my older brothers and my dad, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So fast forward, I was born and obviously she couldn't take care of me. My mom had no family here. All her family was back home in Portugal. My dad did have family, but they were scattered everywhere and they were just starting their own lives. So they weren't really able to help. So I was really taken care by strangers and local like neighbors and stuff like that. Like there was a local hairdresser, God bless her. She was like my caretaker, but she had to work. So I was literally in the front of the hairdresser as like window dressing there in a cradle all day. Like no one taking care of me. They just giving me a ball every so often. So, and now I end up finding out that they're saying that the most important thing growing up as a baby is to have your parents' love and nurture. And unfortunately, I never received that, which is odd because if you talk to my wife, it's a complete opposite. I give so much love. I'm able to give love. So it's sort of weird how I taught myself how to be like that. But again, going back to that. So fast forward 4, 5, 6 years old, I grow up. And again, not having, my dad was never present too. He never taught me anything as well. So I literally grew up teaching myself everything and learning on the go and taking care of my mom, right? So that was my upbringing until like literally until I graduated high school. And then we ended up moving to Portugal. And we'll get to that part. But then as I got older, I started getting like health issues and stuff. And didn't know why I was, and even as a child, like thinking back, I was always constantly in pain. I always felt uncomfortable. I never felt right. Like something was always off in like my head, my body in terms of like headaches, like spinning, vertigo type stuff, like just stuff like that. And for people who don't know, and this I do remember because it's one of my earliest memories too. I got hit by a car when I was 4, which gave me a concussion, which I was unconscious for about 3 or 4 days. And again, back then, no one knew about concussions. So I wasn't diagnosed with a concussion because no one knew. So, you know, I didn't get no therapy, no treatments. And again, as a 4-year-old, brain growing, like they probably even said I could have had bleeding. It was bruised. Who knows how bad it was back then, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess that was the start to all my problems. So I thought, but then I started getting immune problems too, in terms of like always being like my muscles always being in pain. So they thought it was like fibromyalgia, but they were like, no, it's not fibromyalgia. Then they thought it was arthritis. No, it's not arthritis. So I'm like, what could it be? And all this stuff. So then I started seeing a team of doctors and all this stuff. And then they pinpoint, because I ended up telling them all my mom's history and stuff. And they're like, well, if your mom got cancer 2 months and the tumor was the size of a peach, she had cancer while she was pregnant. So you were in your mom living with cancer.
Oh, wow.
So I was born, no one thought to check me or to do it. Again, back then it was all no one knew anything, right? So now it's like, and they can't pinpoint it obviously, but they were under the suspicion that a lot of my issues could be led to being in my mom with cancer, right? And now I make a running joke where I'm like, well, I live with cancer. My cancer was my roommate, so cancer's going to be nice to me, so I'm not going to get cancer. I'm good. Like, you know, we're buddies. We live together. My mom for 9 months. No problem, man. Cancer, leave me alone. Like, what I mean? So, but I like again, heartedly, it's like just making joke to cope. But it's like, what else complications might I have because of this? And then my mom passed away when I was 26. Again, complication of cancer, and then she ended up getting dementia and all that. And it's like, what else am I going to have? Like, I don't know my future. And that goes back to not wanting to have kids too, because I didn't really want to pass some tainted DNA down to my kids and see them have to suffer like how my mom suffered or how I might possibly suffer. And also because just how was not having like, I can't say good parents because they provided food. I never starved. I always had clothes. and I always had a roof over my head. So they did the bare basics, like, you know what I mean? So I can't fault them for any of that. But again, I didn't get any love. I didn't get no teaching, no guidance, no nothing from my parents. My parents to me were like roommates, put it that way. That's how and even to this day with my dad, I still have that relate. Like my dad knows nothing about me. I've done the podcast for 9 years straight, like you said. He still does not know I even have a podcast. So it's like, you know what I mean? I don't have a relationship. So again, the fear of, am I going to be a bad parent too? Am I going to have bad kids like how I have bad people in my family? So it's like all these, and it all came together. It's like, no, I want no kids. Like, you know what I mean?
So, yeah, and nothing wrong with that. I want to make that very clear here. There's nothing wrong. It's everyone's choice. You don't want to have children. There's nothing wrong with that. You could still live a very good, prosperous life without children.
Well, and that's the thing. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or you don't. Because I love kids. I just don't want my own kids. Like, that's it. Like,
and there's nothing wrong. I want to make sure people know there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, sort of God bless my mom. She already had sort of dementia once me and my wife got together. She had a good couple of years when we first met, but like we moved in and everything, but she was more of when are you going to get married type of thing, because we were living together, right? But she never asked about kids. But my dad still to this day never asked, never cared, never wondered why I don't want kids. And again, what parent, again, like you said, Portuguese culture, and even in the Spanish culture, because my wife's from Ecuador, same thing. Every time we used to go somewhere after we got married, when's the kid coming? When's the kid coming? Yeah. So I just told her, you know what? Just tell them that, my parts don't work, and you'll see how fast they'll shut up and they won't ask any more questions. Just be like, that's Steve's fault. He can't produce any kids. You'll see how fast they'll shut up and be like, okay, sorry. Make them uncomfortable for making you uncomfortable. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's a good method. I should have done that instead.
Right?
Instead of just saying, no, no. Like I was too nice. Like could have been a little bit more rough. Now I am, but I should have been before.
Yeah, exactly. And again, going back to the whole taking care of my mom thing, to wrap it all up, it's just crazy because I was literally never to know my mom, because after she was done the operation, they gave her literally a few months to live. Like they said, tops 12, 14 months. And unfortunately, that's the best we could do. And you're not going to live. And then my mom ended up living another 25 years.
Yeah, I was going to mention that because when you said she passed away when you're 26, I'm like, wow, that's like a long stretch to battling with cancer for that long. Well,
to be fair, it never did come back, but the effects afterwards, because of being on, because she had to be on medication her whole life, because then after the side effects of everything else, which then gave her even more diseases, and she ended up getting diabetes. So she had diabetes, dementia, she ended up getting strokes, like all this stuff compounded with obviously having a weak immune system too from taking all that radiation, right?
Yeah.
So that was her ultimate downfall. And again, just to tie it all together too, it's just funny. Well, not funny, but so my mom was completely incoherent her last maybe 6 months of her life. Like she didn't know who we were. She was, I shouldn't say a vegetable because she could still move, but every time we'd go see her, she'd just look at us like no acknowledgement, no nothing, right?
Yeah.
She was like, I'd safe to say she was completely gone. So then she had, I believe, a stroke or something to that matter. And then she was taken to emergency. And then we were having the conversation the night before with myself and my dad, because at that point I was also the power of attorney just in case anything happened to my dad, because I was the most responsible in my family. So they bestowed that on me. So then I was talking with my dad and they were like, well, there's nothing they could do for mom anymore. We have to take her to palliative care. This is really the end now. It's going to be days, maybe weeks tops. So then we're having that conversation, and my dad was there with her the whole night. And then I came in the morning. And then when I arrived, my mom opened her eyes for the last time, looked at me, smiled, and passed away peacefully.
Well, that's nice.
And now looking back, it's like she had enough strength, as much, not to say hate, but as much as I didn't get any love from her, she still tried for 25 years to be in my life.
Yeah.
And then even in the last moment, she opened her eyes to tell me, I'm okay. You're going to be okay. Bye.
Yeah. That's
when
beautiful.
She could have easily just passed away with my dad or anyone else.
Yeah. She had enough strength to tell you that it was going to be okay. And I admire you because the upbringing that you had, many people, if they were in your situation, would have given up. They wouldn't proceed with life with the passion, the love, and care that you do. And I've had the pleasure of being your friend, so I know and I see that in everything that you do. So, and I think as a mom, we know how our children are. So she knew that in you. So that's, I'm trying not to cry. So she made sure she had that strength to let you know, it wasn't great, but I know you can do it.
See, it's the funny thing is, it's so hard to put to how to describe my relationship with my parents because, like I said, yeah, roommates as like a joke and stuff. But I don't hate them. I don't want to say I don't love them because obviously I do, and it would sound so horrible if I said I didn't. So there is love, but it's sort of like I know they left me alone or they didn't take care of me because they knew I was strong. But again, as a child or even as an adult, or even to this day, still my dad has never said anything. I've heard my cousins and other people, my aunts and uncles say, "Oh yeah, your dad's proud of you." He tells us he's never told me once, never in my whole life. Again, my parents have never ever said anything nice or have complimented me ever in my life. And again, maybe it's selfish on my end, but that's the one thing that I guess I will never forgive them for, if that makes sense. Like everything else is fine, like no problem. I get it. It makes sense. Yeah. You know, mom is number one priority. She was sick. And again, even I don't have kids. As if I was to be a dad and I was sick, I would still show all my love as I could towards my son or my daughter, even if I was sick, because it's not their fault that I got sick. They don't know any better. You would do anything possible, like instead of having it reversed, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I see how other parents are with they would literally die for their kids. And I don't think my parents would do that. And then even later on, finding out in life, because of my mom getting cancer, I always knew something was off. Like even with my brothers and everything, I knew something was off. There was just something where I did not feel a part of my family. And there was just some resentment I felt from all of them. And it would also go towards where I sort of lived off instincts. Like, you know how animals grow up in the wild, all they know is instinct, right?
Yeah.
I was never taught anything. So everything I have is instinct. And I take it for granted where I think it's common sense. Where half of the time my wife is like, "How do you know to do that?" I'm like, "Isn't it common sense?" She's like, "No, no one should know how to do something like that. Like, how did you figure that out?" And then it's like thinking it's because I had to. Like my instincts kicked in at a young age because I was sort of brought up in the wild, like I said, sitting in a hairdresser. And back then people used to smoke at the hairdresser. Think about that.
Yes. Yeah, they smoked everywhere.
Right? Smoking,
even at McDonald's.
The dyes, all that in the air, all that pollution.
Oh my God,
both went through me, right? So
the hair dyes at the hair salons back then. Oh my God, it was disgusting.
Right? So I gained sort of like this like fight or flight from such a young age, right? So it's just now I'm just rambling and I don't remember what my whole point of this was or where we left off, but it's just like the relationship with my parents is just weird. I just wished in a nutshell that they just at least once told me that, hey, you know what, you did good, whatever. Like again, only person in my immediate family to graduate from high school. Yeah, they showed up there, but it was like nothing, it meant nothing to them. And again, now I remember. So to tie it in a nice one, and we'll end it out here in case you got anything else you want to know about me. So the reason why I felt like a black sheep, that's where we left off. And then I started rambling.
It's okay.
So the reason why I am a black sheep, I ended up finding out later in life, directly from one of my brothers, that my family did have resentment towards me, did not like me, because they thought I was the reason that my mom got cancer and that's why my mom ended up passing away. If I was never born, she would never have gotten cancer and they would have still lived a happy life altogether, just the four of them instead of us being five. And then also I've heard from both my parents that I was a mistake. I am 11 and 9 years apart from my older brothers. So that was another thing. So I had to carry that burden my whole life. Like, again, it's one of my earliest memories. Like my mom saying, "Yeah, you were just a mistake." And it's like, okay, so, all right. So like, you know what I mean? So it's like all these things, it's like, maybe this is why I don't care. And we talk about this all the time too. And I say it to everyone, don't care about other people's opinions, live your life, because other people's opinions are shaded. It's their own reflection about stuff they're insecure about, and they're just pawning it on you. So don't let other people's things bother you. And because of my family not loving me and not being there and not getting that, I thank them because now I don't need it from anyone else other than my wife, and I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you gained from it. It's unfortunate circumstances, but you did gain a lot from it because now you are a better person. And not the
The,
great circumstances, but you are a better person because of it, I think. I don't know. I'm trying to put a positive spin.
no, well, my positive spin is I had a shitty childhood to have a good adult life. That's the way I look at it. Because sometimes a lot of people have great childhoods, and I know a lot of people I used to know had fantastic childhoods, parents who love them, and unfortunately now that they're adults, they're either like crackheads, they're in and out of jail, like they're not doing good in life, like, you know, and they have like the perfect childhood. So
Yeah.
what would I want to have? Like a nice, beautiful childhood where I got everything I wanted, and then be struggling as an adult, or be self-sufficient and always strive in any situation I'm put in. That sort.
If you could speak to a younger version of yourself who was, caring for your mom, being self-sufficient, what would you want him to know? So what could you say to younger you?
Ooh, this is interesting. Because at one point I want to say I don't want to say anything because then if I intervene, my life could be completely different.
Oh, see, that's a good.
So I wouldn't mind observing just to see what was really going through. Because again, all our memories are jaded. We always over exaggerate. Who knows what exactly it is? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just to see exactly what was going through my mind is like, was I really scared? Was I really anxious? Was I really that tough as I thought I was? Right? Who knows? But if anything, I would say, again, it's going to sound harsh, but only so then I wouldn't be as hurt when people would screw me over in life. Be a little bit more selfish. Don't always give everything to everyone all the time. Hold a little back just in case. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would probably be it. Because again, even as the same thing, because I was always taking care of my mom, that's all I knew. So growing up, I guess I gained that mentality where I had to be big papa to everyone. And even with my friends, like anytime I saw my friend, I would rush to their aid. I would do this, I would do that. Like always try and be there for everyone. Like, you know, and it's like, I didn't have to do that. And then I would have this false, I guess, friendship in my mind where it's like, oh, I did this for you. And it's not that I expected something back, but it's like, hey, if I pick up the phone, at least be there for me. And half the time they're not. Or like I said, I've been screwed over more than times I could count by friends, family members. There's so many wounds in my back. I couldn't even stitch them up. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm Mick Foley and I just landed on a big nail with thumbtacks. That's my back.
That sounds so painful. I can't even see that.
But yeah, I would say, you know what, nothing, or be a little bit selfish. Just a little.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great advice. I'm going to start taking your advice a little bit more. I need to do that.
Yeah, because it's good to give. But do you really have to give everything and like spill it all out and be vulnerable? You should only be vulnerable with the people you trust 100%. And again, it might be a hot topic for some people because I know a lot of people like, oh no, you got to be nice to everyone. But I hate to say it, in the real world, there's a lot of bad people out there.
Yeah, there is. And those who disguise themselves as nice.
And that's the era we live in right now.
Yeah, that's the harder one. It's like, how you know, does the mask come off or not?
And again, being Portuguese, you know this all too well. We are very into being Catholic, Christians, like, you know what I mean, religious. Sometimes I find the ones who go to church every day, who pray the most, are sometimes the most evil. And think about it. Why do you think they're always praying that much?
Yeah, I know, right? They want to make sure they make it through.
Right?
Yeah, right? I know.
Hey, if there was someone sitting at Jesus' table that was bad, it could be anyone. Think about it.
Yeah, there was. And it was one of his friends who turned on him. That's the one who turned. It was his very good friend. So it's a good life lesson. He taught us that. So early in your life, and you mentioned this in the other interview, you talked about wrestling.
Yes.
And video games that basically raised you. What do you think those worlds gave you that real life wasn't giving you at the time?
A teacher. Like literally, like how I said, I didn't like, I had older brothers that played sports. I had a dad who was an athlete. He was a professional cyclist back in Portugal. He did the tour of Portugal, tour of Italy, held the yellow jersey, everything. Like he was like top, like 1 percentile in like cycling back in those days, right? And I have a running joke where it's so bad that my dad never taught me how to ride a bike. Like, you know
Oh,
what I
wow.
mean? To put that into all the Leaf fans out there, even though I'm not a Leaf fan, if you're listening to Toronto, it's like Austin Matthews not teaching his kid how to skate. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like video games taught me that. I didn't like hockey until I started playing NHL. I didn't like football until I started playing John Madden back on the Sega Genesis. Like all these things. No, actually, it's even before NHL. It was, what was it called? It was on Nintendo. It was ice hockey. That was the one I used to play. So I didn't even know rules about hockey until I played ice hockey and Blades of Steel. Like all these things, I had no idea that. And as a kid, I didn't know I liked sports until I started playing the video games. And then I started liking sports and I didn't even know it was in my DNA too to begin with.
Yeah.
So I had that athletic gene, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, so it taught me like stuff like that. And same thing. And video games taught me geography, taught me how to read as well. Like
Oh, wow.
back in the day, like people don't realize like those games didn't have cutscenes like today's generation. Like Mario never spoke back in the day. You had to read the text where the princess is in the next castle. Keep going. You know what I mean?
I love Mario. He's my favorite. I was so happy when my parents got me the Nintendo. That's all I wanted. Just give me the Nintendo.
Right?
I loved it.
So again, that's what it taught me. And then wrestling taught me, again, back in the day, it was all about being a man and growing up. And it taught me how to be like tough, how to take your lumps, the good guy should always win. Don't be bad, like that type of storytelling. You know, obviously I knew it was all scripted already when I started watching it at a young age. But still, it was just the stories that it taught me and growing up to be like, oh, if Hulk Hogan could come through it, brother, then I could do anything. Like, say your prayers and vitamins. As much as obviously, Hogan's not the best, role model nowadays, God bless his soul too. But it's like, you know what I mean? That's what we're taught back in those. And that like gave me the person who I am, like to be a good person, to always fight a good battle. Like, and again, if I didn't have that in my life, I don't know, maybe I would have gone down a bad path. Who knows? Or I would have fallen with the wrong crowd or whatnot. And maybe it was a blessing too, because back then, if you liked video games, if you liked wrestling, a lot of people really didn't talk to you growing up. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to sort of hide that from my friends because I didn't really want them to know that I loved wrestling and video games. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So a lot of my friends didn't even know that until I got like into high school. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, again, hiding all this stuff, hiding that my mom was sick, hiding this, like I couldn't really be myself too. And I guess that's what I mean about being a little bit selfish too. Just be yourself. Don't worry, and put your stuff out there. And who knows how many more friends I would have found that were closeted wrestling friends and video game nerds and stuff, right? So I was like almost forced to be like a so-called cool jock kid because if I wasn't, I'd be, crucified.
Oh, wow. I was never cool, so I wouldn't know.
No, I'm not saying I was cool, but like I'm just saying, like the title, I guess someone.
That was more back then. I don't even know what happens now.
Now kids go to school dressed like fucking clowns and no one cares. So
yeah, I know.
Back then, if you go to school back-to-back days with the same T-shirt, oh no, God forbid, it would be game over. Like even your friends would make fun of you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like style actually meant something back in the day. Today, I don't know if the style is just. Exactly. That's what I mean. Is it to look chill all the time?
I don't know. I've gone to a grocery store and I'm seeing them with like pajamas, slippers with socks. And I'm like, ooh, I'm like, I could be really tired, but I'm not going in pajamas.
I'm the same way. Joggers I could let go with. That's the most.
Yeah.
Okay. Shorts too, no problem. But yeah, pajamas. Mind you, as a kid, speaking of, again, not having parents telling me what to do. I went to school one day, I think it was grade 1, in my pajamas.
Oh, but you were like a grade 1. How do you know how to dress?
But still, again, kids were vicious back then. I got crucified for it.
Oh, really? For
grade
1?
Oh, I got scarred for it.
What savages? I wonder where these kids are at now. Where are they?
I think, I don't know, downtown Toronto. Again, I grew up literally in between Little Italy and Little Portugal. Like, Ossington and in between Dundas and College. That's where I grew up. And
it's still Portuguese.
So I don't know if it was just the culture where, again, growing up, you just egg each other or stuff, or we were just that more advanced because we were downtown kids. I don't know what it was. But looking back, it always seemed like we were ahead of what today's generation was doing at that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So with wrestling though, and video games, do you still turn to those things today? And have they taken a different meaning for you? Because you do the podcast,
Yes.
and a lot of these things that helped raise you are really still part of your life, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So wrestling, ever since day one, I started watching. I've never stopped. Like I could honestly say, yeah, maybe a few things here and there. Obviously, I'm not going to say I've watched every single thing, but
Mm-hmm.
ever since I became a fan, there's no lapse, there's no nothing. The only lapse I had, which we actually didn't touch on, and we could get into it after if we have time to and you want, is that I ended up moving to Portugal after I graduated high school with my parents for a year.
That's next.
Oh, see, there you go. It's like I could read your mind. You see, my
Yes,
instincts. You see what I'm talking about?
you're already going, so you're making it flow nicely. So you're doing my job for me. So thank you. Keep going.
Right. So
Yes.
so that's the only time I wasn't caught up with wrestling was that 1 year gap, so to speak. Actually, I shouldn't say it. I say a year, but it was about 10 months or so. So that's when I really didn't know what was going on. But other than that, I've always followed wrestling still to this day, love it, try and consume as much as I can. I've had a ton of wrestlers, like you said, on my show and stuff. Old school, independent guys you see on TV, girls too, like you name it. There's been a ton on. Go back, you'll find someone you'll know for sure. But I just love it. Again, it's just the storytelling. And again, it's not one, you know what it is? It's, again, wrestling, I would say, is like my dad, and video games is my mom. So I still keep them both in my life because, again, wrestling taught me how to be a man. And like everyday stuff and everything I know and consume now was taught by video games, which would be a
Yeah.
mom's job. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, don't, I know in today's world it's different. Men could teach women how to be vice versa and all that stuff. I'm saying back when we were growing up, those were the roles. It was not changed yet.
Yes.
So again, just in case you get comments, I'm just trying to save on you, saying that I'm
No problem.
like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a toxic male or something. No. I'm just saying the way you were supposed to be brought up back in those days. I'm not saying it was right. It was just the way it was.
I can hear the theme song of that wrestler. What is it, Kit?
Oh my goodness, yes. Toxic
You're
masculinity.
toxic.
Yes, exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about. No, it's none of that. So yeah, I still
We would bring Oba then. We're like, okay, let's bring Oba.
See, just squash it. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's how I consider like wrestling. Like I still watch wrestling every week. I keep up with the product, everything like that. So it's like I have a relationship with sort of like my dad where we talk and check in every week. And then with video games, same thing. I try and play at least once a week, a couple of hours, and get in there every once in a while because it's such portable. I hop on the Switch. Again, I find it is more of like when I play video games, nothing else is going through my mind. I'm concentrated on video games. I'm there. Wrestling's a bit different. You get still distracted with your phone and other stuff around you. But with video games, I can't go on my phone. I'm not listening to anything going around me. I'm immersed in it. Like, you know what I mean? It takes me out of reality. And again, exactly. And because of the way I was brought up and having to teach my mind is always going. Like I said, my senses are always on alert. Again, my instincts, right? Still to this day, my wife knows, God bless her. I can't have anywhere we go and we sit down, my back cannot be towards the door because I can't see if anyone's coming behind me because of my just survival instincts as a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I still have that. So it's like, so I have them both in my life. I love it. I try and consume as much as I can. In a perfect world, I would consume even more. When the older generation, like our parents' generation, I guess, says, oh, I don't want to retire. I got nothing to do. Oh, I'm just going to die if I... Screw you. I could retire today and play video games and watch wrestling for the rest of my life until I'm 100. I'd be fine.
Yeah, there you go. So you did mention you went to Portugal.
Yes.
Your parents, how old were you?
So I just graduated high school, so I just turned 18.
So why did they decide just to pick up and go to Portugal?
Okay, so again, as you all know, my parents immigrated from Portugal. So my brothers were born in Portugal. So they came over when they were like 3 and 1 years old, and then I was born here. So then always in the back of my mind, I don't know if your parents were like this, but it seemed like everyone who was Portuguese back in the day, the goal was to come here, make a shit ton of money in construction, and then go back home and live a nice life. Some people did it, some people did not. My parents still had that dream where, okay, dad worked all this, we bought a house. Again, this is so crazy to think. My parents' first house that they bought back in the mid-70s cost them $20,000 in downtown Toronto.
Wow.
2-story house with 3 bedrooms, $20,000.
Wow.
So we moved in 97, do the math. So it was enough for them to live comfortably back in Portugal if the plan came together. So then
Yeah.
my mom got sick. Now the plan was, okay, you know what? Again, this is the other thing, God bless them. They knew I had half a brain. So they're like, Steve's good in school. Let him finish high school, then we'll move to Portugal. That was the plan. Okay, no problem. Fast forward 17, whatever years, I graduate high school. Literally could have been an honor roll student if my parents actually cared further. They just literally wanted me to graduate. So as soon as I noticed that, it was like I stopped trying. And again, one of those people, I just literally had to sit in the class, let the teacher talk, and I would ace the tests. I hate to say that about me because a lot of people hate that about me, but it's like I didn't need to study. I was one of those kids, like, you know what I mean? Like the only actual, I take it back, the only subject I could not get a grasp of was chemistry. For the love of God, I could not understand the periodic table of elements. That shit just blew my mind. Maybe because I have a bad memory, so I couldn't remember all like the actual stuff. But it's like, no, science, I literally graduated with a 50%. I almost didn't graduate because of chemistry. I got 50% right on the nose so I could graduate.
Yeah.
But everything else came naturally. Math, English, everything else, no problem. I'm good.
Oh, that's good.
Right? So then it was like, okay, Steve's going to graduate for sure. Now we know he's graduating. They sell the house. Everything's set. They buy the container, shove everything in the container, ship it off to Portugal. Then they go to Portugal. All of us go to Portugal. Lived there for 10 months. Literally did nothing with my life. But my parents' plan, believe it or not, again, this is going back to where they don't give a shit about me and literally just shipping me off and then them sailing off into the sunset because I wasn't part of their plans.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to enroll me in the Portuguese army.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, so technically, I never served, but I was labeled a sergeant in the Portuguese army, but I never went to go serve, hence why I came back to Canada.
Oh, wow.
I was literally ready. It was about a month or so away from me going in. And because of my high school education back from Canada, I knew perfect English. And also, like yourself, because I heard that you went to Portuguese school, my parents too enrolled me in Portuguese school so I could read, write, all that fun stuff. I know all the past tenses, all the verbs. Fucking hate that shit. And right, and just like you learned all the history of Portugal from Macau to Angola to Mozambique and everything. So it's like I know all that. So instead of coming in as a cadet, they fast forward me to be literally a sergeant, where I could start off as doing desk work and then potentially even go out into the field. And well, again, everyone knows Portugal really doesn't do anything in wars, so it's not like I would have been in danger or anything, right? But this was my parents' solution. Maybe because my dad was in the army for a couple of years. Again, back in the day, it was forced, right? So it was mandatory, so he had to go. So he went. So maybe he was like, if I survived, he could survive. He's, I guess, tougher than I am, so he'll be fine. Like, not thinking, hey, this kid has half a brain. He could potentially do whatever he wants in life and be successful. No, let's go put him in the army where they send all the delinquents to.
Oh my goodness.
So I opened my eyes. I was like, you know what? Do I really want to live a life in Portugal for the rest of my life being in the army? Or should I go back to Canada and just try, even if I make minimum wage and live a shitty life in terms of what people think is a shitty life, I still might be happier and I'll never have that what if. Because that's the one thing. I already had too many what ifs as a kid, as a teenager. I don't want any more. And something just clicked in me while I was, I don't know what it was. I just, you know how you have those, you know, literally like in movies, the light bulb goes on. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, divine intervention. Something just zaps into your brain. You're like, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents did not care for this. They did not want me to come back. They did not support me. They said, you know what? Good, go there. You'll be back in 2 months or you'll die from starvation. This is what I got from my parents.
Wow.
Exactly, right? You know, I know people say typical Portuguese parents don't support your kids, but I know deep down, there's always this love. There's always this pride. And like I said, I've never felt it from my family. Yeah. And again, like I said, at least I got that closure literally just a few years ago from my brother, knowing that, okay, they had this resentment towards me. So it all made sense. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, you know what? This was the start of my life where I literally built my whole life of, I'm going to prove you wrong. Again, thank you, parents, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have had the fire in my ass to do what I did. I scrounged $300 worth. Again, at the time, it was still escudos back in Portugal. It wasn't a euro yet. So I scrounged the equivalent of $300 and came back, bought my ticket, and what I had left was $300. So to put that all into perspective. Yeah. So $300 cash, came back, again, as much as I hate and don't have a good relationship with, again, hate is a strong word. I don't like saying it. As much as I don't have a relationship with my oldest brother, he let me be his roommate for the first few weeks. Then shit went sideways, and then that's a whole different story for another different show that I could talk about in the future. And then if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have a place to live. So I ended up being, and back then rent was cheap. Me and him together, it was literally $600. It was $300 each. So I literally had enough rent. That's it, just for 1 month. I had to get my shit together. Ended up finding a job in a factory and all that fun stuff. Ended up making ice cream, whatever. Scrounged, literally, again, back then, lived off a $550 2-week paycheck. Managed to survive a lot of nights not being able to eat. I literally didn't, like my parents said, I was starving some nights just so I could have a roof over my head, right? It was tough, but I never wanted to let go. I always kept getting better, always strove, started getting senior positions, started moving up in companies, went to other positions, started being team leaders, this, that. Luckily now, considered a white collar job. I get to work in an office remotely and all that fun stuff. So it's like, you see, I fucking did it. I did it with $300 in my pocket without your support. I've managed to become a better person than what you actually are, that you should have taught me to be in the first place.
Yeah.
So thank you, parents, for not loving me, I guess.
Goodness.
See, it all ties together. See, you got to find the positives, though. You can't, and I guess that goes back to your whole thing where, how can I be able to love people? How am I able to be a good person? It's because of that. Because I saw such a negative side growing up that I decided to do a complete 360 and not be the exact same thing.
And you have a special drive. I have a little bit of that drive too, where you strive to prove people wrong.
Yeah, I have to.
I love that.
Because there's so many haters. And again, I hate to say, I've had, again, people in my bridal party that have backstabbed me, like people I thought were best friends that, like, secretly behind my back, sabotaging stuff. Like, family members, same thing. People being jealous of what I have when they know like, you were my best friend when I was starving. But now that I technically, again, as I put up quotations, that I have more than you, you don't want to be my friend? Like, it's like, what's going on here? Where's the support? Like, what's wrong with these people?
Very petty.
You know what? It is, because I'm always happy to see, I would always want to be the less fortunate in a room. I always want everyone around me to have more than me, to be successful, to be happy. Because when people are happy, people aren't jealous. People aren't trying to want what you have. People then actually care and want to listen to your stories instead of judging you and being jealous. Like, you know what I mean? So why not? Like, there's so much room for everyone to be happy. You don't need to be like that. I just, I don't get, but again, like how we've been talking about, it's what happens to you as a child that makes you who you are. So God knows what these people have been through, what they've seen, and how they adapted to it, right? So I don't know what to blame at this point. I really don't, because I see it from both spectrums, and I just don't know anymore. It's just sad.
Yeah, it is. And I don't think we'll be here all day trying to figure out what exactly is the culprit, because there could be so many different factors.
Yeah, I know. It's, you know what? We need to bring back old school Bailey and just everyone just hug each other. Like, come on.
Oh my God,
that's what the world needs. Like, again, I know it sounds so corny, but it's true. The world does need more love, unfortunately.
Yes, and people to stick with their words. So if they never give up, they shouldn't give up.
Oh well, that's well. See,
I am never letting.
Maybe this is why I was never a huge John Cena fan. Deep down, I knew.
Oh, you knew. See, and
I knew he was like Hogan and was gonna just turn and be Hollywood Hogan and just screw all the kids.
I know, and I still had this blind faith and trust because I met him and I just thought the world. See, that's why you can't meet your heroes, they say.
Yeah, or just don't have any. Because again,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe because I had no good role models growing up, I never really looked at people and put them on a pedestal. Because people even ask me, like, how do you talk to people on your podcast that you used to look up to? I'd be so nervous. I'm like, I don't put them on pedestals. I think everyone as natural, like behind the scenes, like when you talk to normal people, and they appreciate it more when you just talk to them as normal instead of being like a fanboy or something. Like, you know what I mean? And I get it. I understand why people are Star Trek. You know what I mean? You watch them, you care for them. It's that one-sided relationship where you're just like, oh my God, and you've watched them your whole life. I get it. But at the same time, like, they're just regular people, man.
Yeah. And that's what makes you a great host.
I try.
because you could do that. I don't know if I could. If I had like who would I even say? If I had like what's his name? Chris Evans. Is that Captain America?
Yeah, old Captain
Right.
America. Yeah.
Oh, I'd be like blushing and I'd be like, yeah, like
That's
love
funny.
him, love him, love him. But speaking about love,
Okay.
you said that meeting your wife was the first time you truly felt safe and loved.
Yep.
What was it about her that made everything finally click for you?
We both say it to everyone who always asks, because we've been now together for 25 years. And not once have I ever thought that I've ever wanted to leave her, that I thought there was someone else better for me. I'm not going to say it's perfect. Nothing ever is. You have to work. And that's the thing people don't understand. You have to work out a relationship, because it's hard when you meet someone so young and you're both still growing up too, because you might even have different point of views as you get older. Luckily, we've never had, our core is still the same. But again, you nitpick, like, you know what I mean? So you got to be able to know how to go over those humps. Because I find, again, speaking of giving up, people quit so easily. Like, just because you get into a fight doesn't mean you need to get a divorce. Like, you know what I mean? Like, get to the root of the problem. What is it? Fix it. Obviously, you came together for a reason and you married. I can understand if you're dating, great. You want to break up, no problem. I get it. But if you're married, you committed, you thought at one point this person was for you. So fight through it. Like, you know what I mean? But to answer your question, home. She felt for the first time, both of us, same thing. Like, she felt the same thing that I felt. We felt like we were home. When we first met, when we first touched, when we first, everything, it just felt like we were at home. Like, we both knew we wanted to be with each other within, like, I could easily say, and I'm sure she would say the same, within days, maybe even tops, a couple of weeks, we knew we were going to marry each other. Like, again, as corny as it sounds, like, we met within less than 3 months, we moved in together. Then about, I believe, 4 to 5 years later, we got married. And like, you know what I mean? And we've been together ever since, right?
See, that's a beautiful fairy tale story, but was still like real life, because nothing is perfect, but it's like you guys are meant to be together. I always say that too about me and my husband. It's like God made the both of us for each other.
But you know what? It's so funny because, and then as we obviously got to know each other in the upcoming months after we met, we knew for sure. But she even said, okay, so she's a year younger than me. And it's like, she always says, I was born for you, literally. So I was born, again, if people know the Greater Toronto area, I was born in the Toronto General Hospital. She was born a year later, Mount Sinai, literally across the street. I was then baptized at Saint-Inige, which is St. Agnes, down on right by Trinity Bellwoods Park.
Oh my God, so was I.
Oh, perfect. So that's a Portuguese church.
Yeah.
The church across the street is Spanish. She was baptized a year later across the street.
Oh my God.
So she was literally following every single step that I was taking, but with her Spanish culture instead of the Portuguese culture. Like, you know what I mean? Same thing. Her parents grew up down on like Lansdowne and Wallace area. That's where they first came and lived. Like, you know what I mean? That was your typical Portuguese neighborhood. Even my mother-in-law, their first landlords were Portuguese. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like all these connections. It's just funny how, and then again, it's funny. We were never supposed to meet. She lived in Oshawa. I lived in Toronto after. And one night we bumped into each other and we met. Like, no one introduced us. It was just like crossing our path. Any little thing could have gone any which way in any one of our lives where we wouldn't have met that day, right? So I honestly think we were meant to be, again, as corny as it sounds, we were.
And she's been a big part in your healing as well from your childhood.
Well, I tell her, if she didn't show up in my life when she did, I don't think I would have reached my 40s, honestly. Not to say I would have taken my life, and I'm not going to go deep and dark. I'm just saying, just from not having that, you know, who knows if I would have given up, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at that point I had nothing. Like the 2 years that I left my parents and was living on my own before I met her after, I had nothing. It was just survival. Again, it reverted back to being a child. Like, at least as a child, you don't know why you're going through these paces. You're like, oh, this is just life. I'm just growing up. But as an adult, you're like, no, what's my end game here? I'm struggling for what now? To prove my parents wrong? Like, who knows how long I would have gone, right?
Yeah, yeah. So what does family mean to you now?
Me, my wife, and my 2 little kitties.
Oh yes, let's talk about them.
Well,
Because
they're not so little. So
no, they're really big. So
they're
what
monsters.
kind of cats are they again?
So they're purebred Maine Coons.
Yes, so those get big. Like,
Yeah.
what is the estimated growth for yours in particular? Do you know?
Well, we don't know for sure because you
Mm-hmm.
can never tell. There's no exact science to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But what what's been online is they grow up until they're 3 years old. So that's one thing. But what you see me posting online every so often, people following me, they're not even 1 year old yet. So think about that.
They're so big.
So they're about, I say, almost 3 feet long already. Three
Oh
feet
wow.
long. And that's not including the tail. That's like from head to their butt, not the tail. You include
Wow.
their tail, they're at least 4 feet now, for sure.
Wow.
They reach the counter. They could do a chin up on their chin reaches the top of the kitchen counter already. They could
Oh
see
my
above.
goodness.
Yeah, they're huge. So I don't know. I'm hoping they could grow the size of me. I want some killer tigers that I could unleash onto the world and just.
But are they friendly? Like
They're
they seem
so.
friendly.
Oh my goodness. So we have a brother and a sister because this is our second set of cats. We ended up getting a first set of cats when we first moved in to our home. Back when we first got married, literally the year we got married, we ended up getting our first set of cats. So we had them. They were fantastic, so loving. We cared for them so much. They were like the little boy was, I could easily say, was my best friend, and was very. And it's so sad again to put together again the relationship with my mom. I felt more pain when he passed away than I did from my mom. How like that's so weird because he was literally there my whole. He would sleep with me. I have a beard. He would always lick my beard and try and groom me. He was literally my little best friend. Like,
Yeah, because of that bond and that connection,
yeah.
that's why it hurts more. Like we used to have a cat that we adopted, um, and she was abused, so we rescued her.
Mm,
6 years
my,
old, and we didn't have her for very long. She had cancer, and it was like the hardest thing.
oh,
I cried for weeks. I didn't want to eat. I was very upset, and then I
yeah.
kept
Same here.
replaying the last day when Nikki was only 2, and then we're like,
Mm,
say bye. Lily has to go
yeah, that's hard.
to God, and she's like, okay, bye bye, Lily. And
Oh,
I would just like
yeah,
cry, and then I
it
wouldn't
is
go.
hard.
My husband went to put her down,
Okay.
and the first needle didn't bring her down.
Oh no, that was my fear when we went because
Yeah,
we had to put them both down too
yeah,
because again we had brother sister. So the sister ended up passing first. She had complications. She had arthritis and everything. She couldn't even, poor thing. Like she was literally begging us to be passed away. She would look at us and we're like,
yeah,
okay, it's time. So we put her down. She went instant. Then the boy went 4 months later.
yeah,
Complicated. His back legs stopped working. He was just dragging. He couldn't go to the washroom anymore. So it was time. Mentally, he was still all there. So that was why it still hurts me to this day, where I wish we were able to fix his back legs. Because if
yeah,
we were, I think he would still be alive to this day. He would hit 20 easily because he passed when he was 15.
yeah,
He was so, like, again, the smartest cat I've ever had in my life. And it was
yeah,
so hard when he passed away. And again, so I saw my mom, I held my mom's hand when she passed away. Then I had to hold my cat's paw passing away. It's like, oh, it's like all these things. It's
yeah.
like,
It's very
it's
hard.
hard. Like,
Yeah,
and it happened during COVID. So everything was locked down. We were spending so much time with these little guys towards the end, and that was what made it even harder. But
yeah,
now looking back, it's like, thank God, because we got those extra years just nonstop with them, like, you know what I mean, towards the
yeah.
end. So we waited a couple of years because we didn't want to replace them, like, you know what I mean? We
Of
want
course.
them to be them. Like, even
Yeah,
like their old nicknames, we don't name the new ones the same nicknames. We keep them different, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's sort of like if you're a parent and you have more than one kid, like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
They're
Of
just
course.
two sets of twins,
Yeah,
literally. So we waited a few years till we were fully healed. We were fully healed now. Uh, uh, During the summer of last year, we finally picked them up, and yeah, we love them. They're huge. They're so lovable, and that's the thing. They're like big, friendly giants. Like the
yeah.
boy, his name is Vader, because obviously I'm a Star Trek fan. If people know, I got
So
Star Trek
cute.
stuff behind me. So the boy is named is Vader, and also if it's wrestling, Big Van Vader from WCW. If people know him too.
Yeah,
So it's double, but he's so adorable. He literally, when I'm at night sleeping, he comes, flops on my chest. But it's so weird. Like he sees me sleeping with my head back. He does the exact same thing. He goes on his back, puts his head on the pillow, and sleeps right beside me, ear to ear.
Oh, wow. See, he's taking
So adorable, so loving.
Mannerisms. See?
Yes, and they're very
That's
smart.
how you know English is not my first language. I have to say some words very slow.
It's all good. But yeah, they're so adorable. They're so loving. They're considered one of the smartest cat breeds. They're also considered the dogs of the cat world. They know how to fetch. We've taught them how to play fetch and all that. We take them outside for walks on harnesses and stuff and everything. So, and that's why I can't wait. They're already the size. They're bigger than most small dogs already. So I want it to be as big as a German Shepherd. They're much bigger than my dog, that's for sure. But my dog is much fatter. Well, he's bigger sideways, not long ways.
Yes. He's actually the last question to wrap up our interview before my rapid questions. I have rapid questions, and that's my favorite part. So I believe in the power of our past shaping our present and future.
Okay.
So what future hopes and plans do you have for yourself and of the podcast?
You know what? Right now, nothing. Knock on wood.
Oh.
No one, see again, this goes back to my motivation. No one has really screwed me over since last summer, so I haven't had really a fire lit under me. Usually when someone comes at me or tries to screw me, like how we were talking about, it's like, I go on a mission to try and get the biggest, baddest guest I could think of, that either that person knows that screwed me, or that I could be like, aha, like, you see what I could do without you, or you see what I could do with on my own type of thing. And I've been good. I've been blessed. Like, I've been having a lot of fun with the podcast. I've been having no stress, been having a lot of reoccurring guests, if people haven't noticed. And that is by design, because I find talking to people I already know and that's been on the show is easy. I don't have to do prep work. I don't have to go in thinking I'm going to be nervous. What if I say something? What if they don't understand my comedy or the way I come off? Like, some people might get offended, right? You just don't know, meeting people for the first time. But if you've been on the show and you know who I am, it's just a barrel of laughs. I have so much fun. Those are my favorite episodes. So really, to the future, honestly, short term, just keep the streak going. That's the only goal I have right now. I'm not looking at first. I'm not going to say and sit here and go on my high horse and say, oh, I don't do this for the views. I don't do this for whatever. At first, yes. When I first started this, I wanted this to be a supplemental thing where it's like, hey, maybe if this blows up, this could be my full-time job. Like, that would be perfect. That would be the dream.
Yeah.
I thought I had a 5-year plan. I'm like, if this doesn't happen within 5 years, then I'm going to be realistic and just move and just not stress as much. Never ended up blowing up. Yeah, I got my listeners. I'm content. Got thousands of views and all the hour listens and so often, and got great guests I talked to. But is it on the terms of being like your top 10 or being a podcast that Netflix would pick up? No, I'm realistic. But
you're top 7.
I'm top 7, yes.
There you go.
But
don't forget.
I'm also not at the bottom where it's like I have just my best friends listening. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm sort of in the middle. So it's like I'm content with that. Like, you know what I mean? So I just want to have fun, make it stress-free, and just keep the streak going. The goal is to have the streak until my final episode airs.
Yeah, that's great. And now the rapid fire question.
Uh-oh.
And they're all like wrestling inspired.
Okay, so this should be fun then.
Yeah, okay. So number 1, if you could cut a promo with any wrestler, past or present, who's stepping up to the mic with you?
Okay, I'm going to give you 2. I'll give you a past and a present. How about that?
Oh, okay. Perfect.
So past, because I am a goofball and I love, even though it wasn't meant to be comedy, but I love comedy and wrestling. I love everything when it's not as serious. People are going to roast me for this, but just to be a part of one, The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, nice.
Him going on his crazy rants, saying nonsense, spewing whatever he was spewing, just to be a part of that beside him and feeling that Ultimate Warrior energy.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. So that would be my past, and my present, again, sticking with the theme of comedy, of sticking with the theme of having fun. Even though I probably wouldn't be able to get through it, I don't know how any of these wrestlers do when they're standing beside him. R-Truth.
Oh, yes.
Come on, please.
So
that would be so much fun.
He's bald now.
See, fit right in. Come on.
See, look. Cue balls, right? I could call you guys cue balls.
There you go.
Doesn't R-Truth have a whole thing about balls?
That's right. He has a whole
Calming
thing with Nick Aldis. That's right. And speaking of Nick Aldis, I've had him on the podcast, so go back and listen to that episode.
Oh, there you go. See, nice plug-in. Love that. Okay, number 2. What's your walkout theme song if you suddenly debuted as a surprise entrant at the Royal Rumble?
Oh, theme song. Oh my God. This is hard because I love so much different type of music. I would actually have to think about that one, but off the top of my head, to keep it podcast themed, I would go with the theme of the podcast that you hear each and every time that you tune in.
Oh, there you go. And that's very unique to you too. So there you go. Everyone know it's you.
And it's funny because oddly enough, that theme, because people always ask, where'd you get this? Where'd you get that? Right. And so the theme song, when I first started this, it was, again, I've told the story plenty of times. I believe I said it even on Ben Fade's podcast. So shout out to Ben Fade again. Go listen to his early podcast. And he asked how I started the podcast itself. And it was with my cousin. So long story short, we were looking for a theme song to find. And again, you could go on these websites where it's free domain and all that, where you don't get charged and you could use it as long as you're not making money. Hence why I'm saying 9 years, I haven't made a penny really off the podcast. I'm having fun. So I'm still able to use that theme song. Once it blows up, I don't know. But to tie it all together, I didn't even realize the theme song was actually created by a Portuguese DJ.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
And I didn't even know this.
Look at that.
Right?
Is the DJ still around?
I don't know. I tried reaching out to him. He's never returned any of my communication. So that's why I'm saying I don't know if they're around or if they just don't care that I don't know. Because I did dive into it. Don't ask me who it is. I don't remember the person's name. Because again, 9 years, this was maybe year 2 or 3. I tried tracking them down and they never replied. So who even knows? And who even knows how old that song is, right? So So I think I'm safe to say, even if I blow up, I should be okay with it still.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're good. Okay, number 3, heel turn or baby faced forever. Which version of Steve would the fans cheer louder for?
Okay, I don't know who they would cheer louder for because heel Steve could be pretty mean. So, okay, how about this? If I'm in my 20s and 30s, I'd love to be a heel because when you're that young, you know what I mean? You're young, dumb, and full of you know what. So it's like, no problem. I would be a heel all day and not feel ashamed. But as growing up, you know, you get better set of morals and stuff. So to start off my career, I'd be the most dirtiest heel of all time and just piss everyone off. But then transition to be the greatest face of all time and retire as a baby face.
Oh, see, that's great.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like what, John Cena?
Well, I would give up at first, but then I wouldn't give up at the end.
That's good. Number 4, if the podcast had its own championship belt, what would it be called and what wild design would it have? I feel like we should get Ben Fade to design one for you now.
I was just going to say, you know what? In terms of design, I'll leave it to the 2 professionals. We both know them, Alex, the Portuguese, and Ben Fade.
Oh, yes.
So we'll leave it to those 2 great gentlemen to figure that out. But I'll throw this out there quickly. This is actually hard. I don't know what. Oh, I know. Okay. Since I've been calling myself the Iron Man of podcasting nowadays, I would create the Iron Man Championship belt, which you would have to defend each and every time on TV that there's an aired event, no matter what it is. If it's a pay-per-view, if it's a weekly TV show, you're wrestling on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, main event, all the PLEs, both NXT and the big ones.
That's a great idea.
You don't defend it, you get stripped. You lose the title, you lose the title. And it just be called the Iron Man Championship.
Yeah, that would be an amazing idea. They should do that.
Well, they used to have sort of back in the day, it used to be called WCW. I know WWE tried a little bit and NWA still does the TV championship where someone would defend it every time on TV.
Oh, okay.
But then they got away from that and it stopped because I guess they figured out there's going to be way too much TV. No one could really do that. But if you're a true Iron Man or Iron Woman, then go for it. Defend your title every single time on TV. Come on.
Wasn't there the 24/7 championship?
Yeah, but again, that was a joke after.
Yeah, that was
I'm saying a real match. Like you got to be in the ring with a referee one-on-one.
Yeah, agreed. But I like that idea. Someone in the WWE world, if you're listening, let's try to make this happen.
Nick Aldis, if you still listen to the show, hey, you're in charge over there. Make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. I would watch. It'd be something surprising for once.
Uh,
Okay, and number 5. Which
Okay.
wrestling finisher best describes your interviewing style? The stunner, the sharpshooter, or something totally original?
it's not the stunner, that's for sure, because I don't do like nonstop question after question type thing, right? So it's not the stunner. Sharpshooter would be more of like prolonged interview, even though my episodes are sometimes a little long. Okay, I'm gonna pick one. This is hard. I'm gonna pick one. Okay, so for people who don't know who listen to the podcast, the style I bring is more laid back, more, I sell it more as a conversation type show than more straight interview, right? So it's laid back, more fun, more chill. So I'm gonna go with a chill, funny, easy finishing move. Let's go with, people are gonna roast me. I'm gonna go with the worm or
The worm? Oh
the
my
people's
goodness.
elbow.
Oh, that's awesome.
There
The
you go.
worm was Scotty Too Hottie, wasn't
You
it?
got it,
I love Scotty Too Hottie.
right?
Whatever happened to him?
Yeah, well, I guess he had his time and he moved on. What can you do?
Mhm. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much. This was a great interview. Thank you for opening up so much about your life. Now people get to know a little bit more about the man behind the mic, which I think is important. And I have to say, I do admire you
Oh, thank you.
for what you've accomplished throughout your whole life, and knowing your story more just makes me admire you even more as a person, as a friend, and as a host of the podcast. So thank you so much for being here today.
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you pulling the stories out of me. Like I said, I haven't really told these stories out loud to a lot of people. So this was great to put it out there. And again, I'm not ashamed about my past. Like I said, it is who I am. And again, there's a lot of stuff I omitted, not in those stories, that also shaped me, that hopefully one day I will be able to tell the story about too. Again, it's just a scratch. And this is what I mean about humans. Like, as I gotten older, I've appreciated more why people do stuff. I still might not like what people do, but I understand it, so it doesn't bog me down, and so I don't carry that burden of why does this person hate me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, perfect.
Because you can't please everyone, so.
No. I'm still learning that. slowly but surely.
There you go.
Well, this is it. I am Melanie, and this is Steve. Till next time.
Thanks for listening. Until next time, this is Momma Braga wishing you courage to tell your story and joy in every chapter.